What's up, YouTube? Adam Grover coming at you with another video. And I might rant, so warning. Might be offensive. Or might hurt feelings, whatever. Um, I do want to start by saying no offense to anyone. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. But I think it's time that people hear the truth. And it has to do with customers, so to speak, or guys who want your help with their build, but they don't just want your help, they want Jason, John, Jack, Mo, Henry, whoever. Now, it's okay to get other people's opinions. It's okay to, hey, what do you think about this? Or, I don't mind that stuff. What I mind is, and a lot of shops, if you're going to a shop, the last thing they want to hear is what another shop's opinion. Well, this shop said this. The only way that's okay is if you have a problem with something, you're coming from that shop and you're telling the new shop what the problem was before. I had it at this shop, this is my problem, blah, da 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 da. But when it comes to picking parts or a combination, putting a car together, well, this shop said to do it this way. We don't want to hear that. You're coming to us for our work. And I'm not even a shop like that. I do stuff for some people on the side here and there, but I feel bad. I can only imagine what it's like if I wasn't in business, trying to get stuff done, daily stuff to pay the bills, and then I got a guy who wants to rattle my brain about a combination, and then asks 50 million other people, and then comes back to me. I do side stuff for extra money so I can buy stuff for my cars and stuff once in a while. But the more I deal with some people, the less I want to do it. For instance, I had a gentleman who wants to build a project. He says, I want a set of heads for this project. So I find him the heads, I send them to him. Like $400 something for a factory head, but these are what he wants. So he then tells me that he wants to keep it budget. His buddy has a set of heads. I said, well, automatically you need valve springs for those heads. They really need to be ported. They're really, to me, they're not worth messing with, but that's what you want, then go for it, At the end of the day, it's your vehicle. Do what you want. So he says, well, why? Why don't you think they're worth it? Da 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 da. I said, because for what you're going to spend, probably get a better set of heads for price. A couple $100 more. Huge sets of heads out there, like Performers or Trick Flows, whatever, that you could buy to make more power than what a factory cast head. Because this isn't somebody who's going to go and port them and do all the tricks that need to be done. So then he asks me the question, well, why did you send me it? He goes, what do you think they're worth? My buddy has a set. I said, I don't know. For me to have to use them, they'd have to be like $50 to $100, and my engine would have to have nothing on it, basically. So he goes, well, why did you send me heads, the same ones that were $400? I said, because you were looking for those heads, and you never said that it was a budget deal before I sent them to you. You said you wanted them. My job's to source the parts. Here you go. What you do from there is your business. I'm not building it. I'm not the one putting it together. You wanted my input or my help finding parts. That's what I was doing. So it turns into I find another couple sets of heads. Well, if you think we could get better heads for it, then what heads? Okay, here you go. Here's these heads. Then it turns into, well, machine shop said I shouldn't use stuff, blah blah blah, or I think that was for a camshaft deal, but I said you got to check the stuff, just don't buy it. If it's something that's being shipped to you, pictures, ask for pictures of the lobes, for a cam, or where the bearings run on the cam, all that stuff, and make sure it's not messed up. Use your brain. If it's all messed up, rusted, or scratched up, scarred, whatever, it looks like it's wrecked, then obviously you don't buy it. Aluminum heads. Well, I shouldn't buy aluminum heads used. They warp easy, whatever. You gotta use your brain. You get a square. Harbor Freight sells them. They're cheap. Maybe $10. Maybe. If you can't afford a square, you find something that's straight and flat. That's good, I mean, there's endless possibilities. A piece of cardboard even that has a straight edge on it. Just something. That's all you need, and a flashlight. Check your heads. Look at the stuff. Check them. Make sure you use like a good form of payment and check the stuff. And if you get ripped off, then you report it and hopefully you get your money back. But that's the chance you take. Some stuff, used stuff, it's so cheap, it's like even if it's messed up, it's almost worth the gamble. For instance, these heads, $300. That's what I got them for. 300 or 350. That to me is a no-brainer. I'm buying them. Why? Because I can sell them for $5. Pretty easy. Now, or I could even make my money back if I can't sell them for $5. I'll get $3 eventually. Somebody will give me $300 at least. Now that they're done, they're worth way more than that. So, that was one of the things about the parts, kind of trying to tell me, oh, I can't, this guy says this. You're either going to listen or you're not. I can lead you to water, I can't make you drink. And that saying, it's old, but man, does it stick. Another example, same guy. He's talking to me about spinning RPM. So I'm like, he wants to spin like 6,000. So I'm like, what RPM do you want to spin? 8,000, 8,500. What? In a mud truck? Not even a mud truck. You're talking about something you're going to drive on the street and take out in the woods type of truck. 8,500. It's not a dedicated mud truck. He's not going to like a pit where you got 6 feet of mud or whatever they go through. This is like a truck on like maybe 40s. Maybe. I'm going to say closer to 35s, but maybe 40s. Now, I told this guy to do a totally different motor. Don't even do a 302. Go big block. Then it's then I have to buy headers and motor mounts. If you're worried about buying headers and motor mounts for something, stop the project, because you need it for a 302, 351, whatever it is, you're going to need that stuff. When you're starting from scratch, you need to come up with a plan and figure out what you want to do. But when it comes to these shops, guys helping you, man, I get the questions. I understand why you're asking. But some of the stuff is just no reason. No reason. There's no reason to to go from me to a machine shop to Mo to John, Skip, and whoever else. There's no reason. Pick a guy. That's your guy. So I kind of lost my temper a little bit, and I started getting sarcastic, and I'm like, he goes, yeah, well, my buddy said this. I said, have them do it. Listen to them. They know what they're talking about. Because at this point, now I want to be left alone. You're second guessing what I'm telling you. I'm giving you my knowledge. I'm helping you. I am, out of the kindness of my heart, I'm helping you. I'm beating my brains out, looking for parts, trying to put a combination together that will give you a little bit of what you want, but work. Because I can make your motor spin 8,500 and be useless if that's what you want, but I'd rather see you go through the mud at 4,000 RPM and tear them trucks up and say, how are you doing that without wrecking your motor and rebuilding a motor every weekend? That's what I'm trying to do. What you're saying you want to do is you want to put a motor in that every weekend or every 2 weeks. Whenever it hangs the rod out of the side of the block because you got a stock bottom end that can't spin, it's not meant to spin 8,500 non-stop through a mud hole. It's fine when you don't care about the engine and you're like, okay, well, I'll just put a motor in it. That's okay. But when you're talking about something you want to go out and enjoy once in a while, I don't think you want to hang a rod out of it the first time you go out because you're sitting in a mud hole stuck because you wanted to spin RPM instead of making the truck do what it's supposed to do and go through a mud hole. Because that's what mud trucks are supposed to do. So he sends me videos of his buddies. One, those trucks are not spinning over 6,500. They're not. You can hear it in the videos. I know what RPM sounds like. I can tell when it's high. I can tell what a typical Ford truck sounds like going through the mud. Yeah, they might have had a little cam or something in it, and they're spinning up a little higher than what a factory Ford would. But I can guarantee you right now, especially if they're EFI, they're only at 6,000. So this $8,000, I don't know where this gentleman pulled the number from, but no. Especially if you want EFI on it. There's a lot more in-depth stuff you're going to need. So I get him to get a 351, because I say at least go 351. The 302 is going to be a dud in that. It's not going to really do what you want it to do. We can make it work, but you got better options for where you're at. Right now you got an engine that's not in a truck or anything that you pulled out of the truck that you want to go through and redo before you even start on that. 351 would be your best bet if you can get one. So he found a 351. I don't need to hear what a machine shop says unless it's something I don't know. But when it comes to stuff that I know, that stuff that I've done, stuff that I've witnessed, stuff that I've gotten away with, I'm not going to give you guys something or tell you guys to do something that's going to hurt you. Now I might say, well, I did it, but because I did it doesn't make it where you can do it. And you might say, well, why? Why can't I do it if you did it? Because a lot of people aren't taking a rusted out motor, using an emery cloth like this, using sandpaper like this, and using PB Blaster to clean cylinder walls. About 98% of the people watching this video aren't going to use these to hone an engine and then run it. Or drain 2 gallons of water out of an engine after it's already in the car. You're going to most likely pull it back out and check the bearings. Personally, I didn't want to. I figure if it's going to blow, it's going to blow. I didn't care. That's different. So I wouldn't recommend that to somebody. But that's a case or a scenario that I'd say, well, I did it, but, it's up to you to try it. Because at the end of the day, if you're the one doing the work, then it's on you. I do my own stuff. So for me, it falls on me if it breaks. When you guys come to me and ask me a question, I try to give you the best advice possible. I try to think of budget. Stuff is high right now. But when you guys come to me and say, hey, I want to make X power and I want to toss it together, I don't feel like doing any of the porting. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. I'm going to send you a head, a cam, an intake, carburetor, or injectors, whatever it might be. I'm going to send you setups that you can bolt together, make the 300, 350 wheel you want to make, or 400, whatever it is, out of your 302, and hopefully you're happy with that, if that's what you wanted. I have a guy, he was asking me my opinion, and I was doing the work on the car. And he had steel heads, and these heads weren't the best. They're not the worst, but they're not the best. And he wanted to put, he's gun ho, solid roller. Solid, it's got to be a solid roller, man. Okay. From a hydraulic roller to a solid roller, that's what he wants. Now, he doesn't just want a solid roller. He wants some huge cam. Why? He wants the sound. And he wants it to make power. He wants it to make power. I said going solid isn't going to make it make more power. I said your head is limiting you. Well, I'll get the different heads. So what's he do? He tells me he's doing an aluminum set of heads, a 225 runner, whatever they are, and then he goes out, buys the same heads that he has, just in a different runner size. With a 7 or high 600 lift cam, 680, 720, wherever it is, solid roller. You can't make this stuff up. You really can't. And I don't get it. Especially when I have the same head on my vehicle, and I have a cam that's smaller than what you just put in. I went from almost the same cam you took out to a cam that's smaller than what you're putting in. Bigger than what came out, obviously. But I wanted to try it to learn. First time messing with a Chevy engine. And the truck went no faster. So why am I going to waste valve springs and make the valve train work harder and all this for no reason? I should have put the other cam back in it. I ended up getting rid of the engine because I wanted to put an LS in the truck for efficiency. So I tell the guy, look, the cam you took out is like the cam I first had in the truck, which he was, man, that thing sounds so good. He loves how the truck sounded. He loves how it performed. That thing runs good. I said, you just literally took out pretty much the same cam. Just the lobe separation angle is different. That's it. Change the lobe separation on the cam. You basically have the same thing. It's just hydraulic roller. You just don't have the chattering noise. But if you do the same lobe separation, the same duration, the same lift, it has all the same basic numbers for the most part. Tests have shown that it's 2 horsepower different going from hydraulic to solid. 2 horsepower. To me, that's not worth the extra trouble in something, especially if you don't know how to adjust valves. Because solid roller is a lot more maintenance than hydraulic. Hydraulic, you set them and forget them, basically. With girdles, you put a set of girdles on it, and that's it. This is the stuff that drives not only me, but shops crazy. He might say, well, you're making money. Who cares? We care because it's work that we have to redo for when you're not happy with it. And then when you're not happy with it, and I'm not saying maybe you watching this video, but people in general, when they're not happy with the outcome because the car didn't pick up the second that they think it's going to pick up by changing the cam from 580 lift to 720, and they go the same time or a tenth faster, I know I'd be really upset if I paid somebody to put a cam in something and only picked up a tenth. Personally. It's one reason I do my own stuff, because there's only one guy to blame, me. But you're going to be ticked. You're going to say, that shop sucks. No, you suck because that's what you picked. That's what you wanted. I did the work. You suck. Not the shop. The shop doesn't suck. You suck at picking combinations. That's why I was trying to help you out picking the combination. But you chose what you chose. You got what you got. The car didn't perform. And guess what? Your fault. I put it together. And guess what? If somebody's good putting something together, they're going to degree the cam where it needs to be degreed, whether it needs to work at a different RPM range because your converter needs to be changed, really. But you didn't change the converter in the car. You didn't change the gear. You didn't change the intake or whatever else goes with the combination. So when you don't make the right changes and you want a 700 lift solid roller camshaft and something, guess what? It's not going to go any faster. It's a waste of time. Unless you have everything else big on the engine. Compression, cubic inch, head, intake, carburetor, and you got a 400 lift cam in the thing with heads that flow 320 or 350 CFMs, whatever they flow. Let's just say, because they're big, I said. So let's say you got a crazy combination, you shove a small cam in it, now it might pick up a second or 2 seconds. But when you got a combination that's maxed out at 500, 600 lift, putting 700 in it isn't going to do squat diddly. It might even slow it down. And then people want to go around saying that the shop sucks, or this engine builder sucks, or this tuner sucks, whatever the case may be. If you're picking the stuff, you chose it, guess what? Your fault. Point blank. Period. Now, I'm not talking about the guy I was just referencing, because that engine hasn't been put together, because I started to clay it, and the gentleman said that he wanted to go back to the hydraulic roller camshaft after I had the whole engine torn apart, put the solid roller in it, the lifters. I wanted to make sure that it fit correctly. So while we're waiting on tools for the push rod length checkers and stuff like that, he changes his mind. So at this point, I already got time invested in it, which he's paid me for. But at this point, I really don't want nothing to do with it. I have stuff of my own to get done. I don't mind doing stuff if we're progressing. I don't feel like putting a cam back in something that I just took out. But now you want to listen to me because most likely you found out I was right, or because you want to street drive it, or whatever scenario. People say the customer's always right. In this line of business, I'm sorry. Not always. You're always right because you got money. But guys like me, it's nice to have the extra money. I don't necessarily need it. If I got to wait another month or something for a part, it might suck, or if I got to sell something, I'll find another way to hustle it and get the money up. It's like the cam sync I need right now for the car. It's 300 and something bucks. I was supposed to get it last month. Couldn't do it. I had a couple side jobs that people wanted done, and I kind of just have stayed away from it because it's problematic. Another thing shops don't like is when you bring a car or are you talking to somebody, and this one's kind of my fault, but I priced somebody out a job. So it's $100 an hour. That's what I charge. Well, how much do you think it's going to cost? I said, look, I can't justify over X amount to do this. Not realizing the extent of what he actually wanted. And I'm not the type of person to say, well, now it's this price because this is what you wanted. You didn't tell me none of that. I gave you a price for the job, and that's pretty much it. So, this gentleman, he brings a car to me, and he says, I want this hooked up, I want that hooked up, all the stuff's right there. It should already be hooked up factory, but just make it work with said part. Part of it was there. Part of the pieces were there, like they're supposed to be. One of the other switches were bypassed for this vehicle. Now, if something's bypassed, I said, look, I have to make a whole harness for this, so obviously that I have to charge more for. I said, the other stuff, it's whatever, it's part of it. And it's kind of my fault. That one, I'll admit, is my fault. Because I should have looked at this in person. I should have said, bring it by. Let me look at it. See exactly what you got going on. He says that the part he wants put in is new. Then it gets here. It's used, secondhand. Well, it was in the car for a little bit, but it's new. Now, these guys are good guys that I'm referencing to. But it sucks. For me, it sucks for any of the shops that deal with this stuff. This video, I'm hoping, reaches some of the people and they sit and reevaluate how they conduct being a customer. Like, think about the shop you're going to. They're trying to make money. They got a lot of jobs. There's a lot on their plate. And you're beating their brains out with this stuff. And they're, some of the places, some shops are bad. You have some shops where it's like they upcharge the crap out of people, and it's bad. But I know some guys that own shops, and they really try their hardest to give the customer the best. And it's a lot, guys. It's a lot. I think everybody has been through this if you're in this line of work. If you haven't, then you're probably the person that's doing it. Because it's like one or two people. You're either the guy getting it and dealing with it, or you're the guy that is doing it. I guess there's the third, the customer that walks up and says, hey, this is what I want, do it. Okay. Whatever you think's best. I had a customer like that, and man, I'll tell you, it was great. And he was very happy with the outcome. He said, this is what I want to run. Whatever you need. Whatever you think is best. I told him what to buy. He bought it. I told him what I wanted to do it. Whatever. I had free reign, basically, of this vehicle. If I told him to cut the car in half, he probably would have did it. And he was ecstatic, happy. I apologize for going off, but it is a level of frustration just thinking about this stuff, because it's like you're married to it after you do it. And it sucks for people like me, because I want to help and I want to do it. And I want to give you a good product and have my name on it and say, I took that to Adam Grover. He did it. The thing runs good, man. I'll tell you. does good stuff. That's what I want. I want my name where it you're getting good stuff. I can't give you quality stuff when you're money pinching. I understand everybody has a budget, but when you start money pinching, I can't do it. I can't give you the quality job when I have to start cutting corners here or there, And the thing is, people say, well, $100 an hour ain't cheap. These shops around here are 150, 175 an hour for the type of work that I put out here. So my point with this is don't second guess who you bring your stuff to if you can't do it yourself. And if you don't like what people do, do it yourself. You got to learn yourself to do it. But it's like I said, I don't even want to mess with other people's stuff because of these reasons. It's hard to find the customers where they're good. It's hard to find a good customer. A lot of people wonder why the quality of work goes down. Maybe it's because you bombarded them with a job where they were supposed to make, where they did it, one, cheap to bring you in, which is kind of their fault, but two, they were trying to help you and take care of you, and then you add more and more. Well, I thought I was getting this. I thought we were doing this too, and this and that and this, and you bombard them, and then they, you complain about the price or how, oh man, I can't afford that. Could you do it for this? This isn't a barter. The price is what the price is. If you don't like it, you're gonna have to find somewhere else to go. At least here. And some of the shops I know do some quality work. I mean, they're working on the one shop I'm friends with who's going to be helping me with this car, R&M, and he gets it, man. He gets shafted, this guy. I feel bad for him. Because he is probably, if not the most honest shop that I know. He's really, honestly, one of the only shops I trust with my stuff, because I have taken stuff to him, maintenance things. It's going to be helping me tune this. We're going to work together on this to tune it. That, coming from me, it says a lot, because I don't trust anybody when it comes to that stuff. I'm the type of person, if I'm going to blow something up, I'm going to blow it up. He's probably the only person I trust that I can say, hey, if it blows up, it is what it is, because I know he's going to give it his all. And he tunes, so he should be fine. But we're trying some new stuff on this that I want to try, so it's going to be my fault if something happens to this, not his. But some of the stuff he's told me with some of the customers, where he's giving them a price and then it ends up either being a disaster job or they think they're getting more and more, and he'll give more and more because he tries to give the customer what he wants, because he takes pride in his work. Maybe pride might be the wrong term, but he wants the customer happy. He wants to put out a good a good product and a good name, where when you say R&M, you know that R&M, they do a good job. Grover Boys, us over here, when it comes to the port work, my dad tries to give you the good stuff. He also made a video about customers. When it comes to the port stuff, I'll put it to you this way, Fox Lake, you're getting a Fox Lake job, if you remember who they were when they were open. When you deal with my dad, that's what you're getting. You're getting something similar to Fox Lake for a fraction of the price, basically. I told him he needs to raise prices because he was doing the stuff too cheap. He's putting out $1,500 port jobs for people for a fraction of the price. But yet you got other companies out there that have a wait list for 2 years, and they give you high prices. Not saying their work isn't quality, but I'm gonna say it's not worth what they're charging, judging by some of the stuff I see run. As blunt as that might be, but it's just wild to me. Some of the stuff we go through and deal with for people, and they'll go to a company like that and have no problem paying. That's what's frustrating. They'll go somewhere to another shop that won't even do as good of a job as what we would try to give them, and I've literally had guys here saying they want XYZ on a budget, yada yada yada. Go to a shop and have something completely different built. I'm talking like they went from $1,000 budget to now they have like a $10,000 engine. I've had it happen. And I don't understand it, because it's like, well, if you gave me that $10,000 budget, guess what? You'd be faster than what you're going now, because right now you're going 11s for 10 grand. I could have did that for 5, and that was a problem. That's what's frustrating. It was a problem when I said, well, you're going to have to spend a little bit more than that. Oh, I really don't want to. And then you go and spend quadruple or 10 times the amount of money somewhere else. Why? What is the mentality? Is it because the shop's name is big? Meanwhile, they copycat combinations? Is that what it is? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I'm not copycatting everybody's combination. Maybe it's the parts that you guys aren't seeing where it's like, wow, why would I use a set of those heads from 1986 or whatever, or 1990s, a set of old trick flows? Why would I use them? But you'll buy Renegades brand new. Why is that? Why? I don't comprehend it. If somebody could enlighten me, I'd love to know. I would really love to know. That's the type of stuff, as you can see, gets me going. And it boggles my mind. This video is basically 40 minutes of me ranting about this. But I think it needs to be said. I think people need to see it. And hopefully it makes a difference, even though it probably won't. But hopefully people sit back and go, am I that guy? The ones that are that guy or girl, whatever. Hopefully they sit back and they go, is that me? I guess I'll wrap it up with that. I mean, as Forrest Gump said, that's all I got to say about that. You know? Hopefully, like I said, it helps. For those of you who this doesn't apply to, have fun building your stuff. Thanks for watching. And like and subscribe if you want. And I appreciate you guys that do watch. Thank you. Guys, have a good one.